Let's go to defense attorney Jeff Gold. He's been following this, all aspects for us. Well, first off, real quick, let's get your take on the judge here. No mistrial. You surprised at that, or did you think it could go far enough to where we were going to have a mistrial?
Well, it got ramped up, Mike. I mean, I think that the initial inclination of everybody was to believe that a curative instruction would be the right thing. But the judge was really mad in court yesterday and eventually offered to strike the entire testimony, both direct and cross of the witness. Gave the defense time to think about it. They came back, re-argued the matter for a mistrial, and ultimately ended up with merely a curative instruction. So it's probably the status quo ante. It's what we really expected, but there was a lot of drama getting there.
Yeah, and can't, you know, the jury heard it. They're not supposed to consider it, obviously, but and it's that prosecution inference that Peterson's intimidating, he's threatening, and so forth. Well, let's get to
well, Mike.
Yeah.
You know, the thing about it is, the question that everybody asks here is, where is the there? You know, where is the state's case? The state's opening was 15 minutes. We're watching the beginning of this case. The story still has not been told by the state. Everybody's, you know, wondering if there's anything there at all. And the fights that we've had are about such tangential matters. Okay, yeah, bullet on a neighbor's driveway as to whether or not he should or shouldn't help the ex-wife with her locks. You know, crazy stuff. This is not about who killed her. Where's the evidence going to be that links him to it? So we did hear some witnesses today, the EMT and now the locksmith, which are starting to build the state's case.
Okay. But, I mean, that's part, though, where the prosecution wants to go here. Circumstantial case, what kind of a guy he is he capable of this, so forth. Well, let's talk about the EMT, and you get to some evidence here. What's key there? Whether or not the EMT saw a towel in the bathroom?
Well, you know, here's the state's point of view. The state's point of view is going to be a mantra, and that is to have their witnesses who saw the body say there was no bath mat, there was no soap ring or, you know, soap scum around the toilet, that there was no bath towel, that no woman's going into the bathroom to take a bath without these items, you know, a bath. Well, and that may sell, except for the defense made a very good point with that witness, the EMT. When the EMT said that there was nothing to take a bath around, he said, but there was shampoo, wasn't there? Yes. There was a bathrobe hanging on the door. Yes. Of course, the victim herself was there, so she was ready to take a bath and naked. There was soap in the soap dish, and there were some form of towels, although they were small towels. So he said in the end, you really don't know if this individual slipped in the tub or not. And the witness said, no, I don't.
All right. Any other developments you want to share before we let you go, Jeff?
I would say the locksmith testified. He's a very jovial fellow. He was asked to identify the defendant, and the defendant stood up, and he said, nice tie, and the jury laughed. I'm not so sure about that because chuckling juries don't convict.
Wait a minute. Who said nice tie?
The witness to Drew Peterson, as he stood up to be identified by that witness. And it got a bunch of chuckles from the jurors.
Wow. What was Peterson's reaction? Did he laugh as well?
Let me tell you. Yeah, well, he chuckled as well, too. Believe me, if you're a defendant, you want the jurors laughing.
Yeah.
There's no, you know, juries that laugh with a defendant are not convicting them.
No, and didn't he already address the jury at one point in a proceeding? Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I'm Drew Peterson. Have a good day, something like that.
Well, when all the parties were introduced at the beginning of the case, it's fairly unusual for a defendant to say that. It reminded me of the unusual comment of O.J. Simpson, you know, 100% not guilty or innocent. That's unusual. This was very unusual, too.
Yeah.
So he's being identified by every witness who knows him on the stand. The prosecutor's asking, can you identify him? And he does the unusual thing of standing up in the courtroom. Usually the defendant just sits at the table while he's being identified. In this case, he stands up, and the witness who knows him, this is a locksmith who has done work for the police department and actually for Drew himself, and some of his businesses said, nice tie, and that got a big chuckle. One thing more, though, about the locksmith, he did testify about one important thing, and he's still on the stand, by the way, Mike. He said that when he opened up the deadbolt, he could tell that it wasn't locked, and that the only way you could lock that deadbolt from the outside was, of course, with a key. The implication is that if you were simply an intruder or didn't have a key to the house, you could lock the inside of the bottom lock by doing it from the inside and then leaving, but you couldn't do that with the deadbolt. So the implication will be she was afraid for her security. She always put a deadbolt. She didn't do it here. That's because it was an intruder that killed her and left.
Got it. Okay. Jeff, thanks for the update. We appreciate it. We'll be following every twist and turn in this case. Thanks again.